Hey folks, Ian Robson here with the Fishing Experiment. Today we're trying out chatterbaits in the Rideau Canal. We're going to see if we can't catch something. I have never used a chatterbait ever, and nor have I tried one in the Rideau Canal for that matter. So usually in these types of urban areas, finesse fishing tends to work a little bit better. So we're going to try an aggressive approach today, see if we can't catch some fish on a chatterbait. I'll throw it around for maybe an hour or so, see if I can't catch something. So we're following the tips today from Fluke Master. He suggested using a chatterbait. He says it's pretty easy to use, so we're going to go ahead and give it a go, see if we can't catch something. It's a pretty big one actually, so we'll see what happens. Let me show it to you right here. So that's what it looks like. I have a sassy shad on the back, and I forget what kind of chatterbait this actually is, but we'll see if we can get something on it. Never used it, like I said, so we'll see what happens. Anyways folks, stick with me, see if we can't catch something. If I don't catch anything on the chatterbait, I only have one color. We'll switch to something else if we can't get something, so stick with me. Fish on! There you go. First bass on the chatterbait. Whoop! Just came off. There you go, folks. So it does work even in an urban area. I felt a little tap tap, so I wasn't sure what it was. And he must have hit the tail first, and then he must have got on. I guess I just didn't quite hook him just enough. But there you go, it does work. All I was doing was just reeling, stop, reel, stop. So it does catch bass, even in urban areas. Like I fish a lot. You just have to work a little bit harder for it, but it does work. There you go, folks. Unfortunately, we didn't get it in, but that's life sometimes. Let's try that again. Fish on! Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Nice one. On the chatterbait. Oh. I don't know what it is, but just can't keep them hooked. Maybe I just don't hook them enough, but there you go. Another one. Bigger one too.
Get away?
Yeah.
Oh.
So that time I was burning it, or going a little bit faster, and that's what caused that bass to strike, so. It was a bigger bass too, so I'll have to keep that in mind. I really gotta, work on setting the hook on this thing, because for whatever reason, this is, they'll hit it, and then what will happen is they'll get away because they just don't do a good enough hook set. So it's a big hook, so you really got to lay into it. I guess because I'm reeling in down, I did a bad hook set. Should have gone up, but you live and learn, I guess. If you're new to these bigger style hooks, like let me show you the hook on this thing. It's just a monster. So you really got to work on setting those hooks on that larger style hook. It's not so much like a little tiny hook set. You got to kind of lay into the fish a little bit more to really get the hook to penetrate. So it's something I definitely got to work on. Also, the other thing might be the fact that I'm using a leader, and the leader's monofilament, so maybe it's part of the stretch that's in it, and that might be causing part of this problem. So maybe we'll have to start switching to a fluorocarbon leader or something. So my suggestion is, if it feels different than what you've been feeling on your line, just set the hook. There's probably a fish with this. I think what's happening actually is because they have this little bit of play in here with the actual blade itself. I think what's happening is it's making it doesn't feel like a fish, but it is usually. So if you're not sure whether you have a fish or you have the weeds or not, just set the hook. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to catch a fish. So that's my suggestion, because it feels really strange on this particular lure in comparison to some other lures. Like if you're using like a spinnerbait, you'll feel like just a tug and you'll feel it, whereas this kind of has like a bit of play in it and you don't have the same sort of direct feeling. So that would be my suggestion if you're trying out chatterbaits for the first time like I am. Whoa. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but a fish just came up, and I was pulling out of the water, and it tried to cut it right out of the water there. So we'll see if we can get it to bite. That was too funny. Got a fish on this time. All right, folks. Got a fish on finally, look at that. Nice little guy too. I don't know how many pounds, maybe 2 or 3 pounds. 2 pounds maybe. Finally I was able to get one. on that chatterbait. There you go. Really had to set the hook on that thing too. So there you go, folks. It does work. Had like four or five hits today. A couple on the actual lure itself. Let's go ahead and get a picture of this. It's in my other pocket, of course. Get a picture. Nice. And let's put it back. There you go, folks. Chatterbait does work. I just was fiddling around over here, just dragging it along. I saw a couple fish following it, so grabbed onto the rod a bit more and then set the hook on that guy when he took it. That's awesome. There you go. Chatterbait, it does work. Let's see if we can't get another one. I saw another one following it, so really wasn't expecting that in this location. There's nothing really here. There's just like a little bit of grass here and there, but nothing too crazy. But we'll try a couple more times in this area because caught one, maybe more. I think I was slow rolling it. So when you're using this thing, just vary it up a little bit, see what works. That time, slow rolling for that fish. A couple other ones that we didn't quite get in. It was a little bit of burning it, popping it, just change it up, see whatever they want. Maybe they don't want the chatterbait. The whole point today was to try and get something on the chatterbait, so I guess we succeeded, which is good. I can see some fish following it, so maybe there's a little area around here. I know on the Rideau Canal they have some of these areas where there's ramps, and you can see the ramps like in the winter, or when they drain the canal you can see the ramps. Otherwise you can't the rest of the year, so just going to move back here a little bit. Maybe we'll be able to get another one. So when you see these little signs right here, that's usually where the ramps are. And there's not much else in the Rideau Canal for these fish to relate to. Trees and grass. You have some mats. You can get them on that too sometimes. Oh, I totally looked at it too. I saw that. Fish on! Oh yeah. There you go, another little fish right there on the chatterbait. Kind of a bonus fish after the fact. Right underneath the weeds, right there. There you go. Nice little fish. Pretty healthy. Let's get it back in the water. Take a quick picture. There we go. One last look. Now put it back. Feisty little guy too. So as it's getting warmer in the day, the fish are like kind of getting underneath the shade. And that fish came right underneath this, I don't know if you can see it or not, came right underneath this mat of grass right here. So I actually saw the fish come out and look at it, so I threw it out past there once again, and he went after it that time. Got a decent hook set, didn't do anything crazy. I just happened to see him right there, so let's see if we can't get one more. Where I gotta go. What I'm gonna try and do is try and cast it out alongside the weeds and just burn it by the weeds.
Alright, just want to do a quick little recap of what I did with the chatterbait. There's a couple things I want to point out. When you're using the chatterbait, anything that you think is something different than what it feels like when you're reeling in, definitely just set the hook. Because you might, it felt a little bit strange initially with the chatterbait, because it kind of has that little blade that moves around, so it feels a little bit different than a normal bite, I found at least. Second thing is to use a trailer hook, because when you have like a trailer, like a some sort of paddle tail, for example, having the trailer hook really increases the amount of hookups you're going to get, for sure. So definitely use a trailer hook. And the third thing is that you need a stout rod. You need to really set the hook on those things, because if you have like with the size of chatterbait I had, at least when I was using, It was, I think it was like a 1 ounce maybe, or like 3/4 of an ounce. So it was pretty big. So the hook on it was massive. So you need to make sure you really set the hook quite hard, harder than I'm normally used to. So keep that in mind if you're not used to using those big, thick hooks when you're fishing. So those are things to keep an eye out for when you're fishing with a chatterbait. Anyways, my name is Ian Robson. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Fishing Experiment, checking out the chatterbait using, I believe it's Fluke Master suggestions. Anyways, folks, my name is Ian Robson once again. Catch you guys later.